Hi, this is Islamic Dad here. I'm going to do a video on a combination of red flags to be on the lookout for, and also kind of lessons learned from being in a relationship with a narcissist. Originally, this is a list that I came across on Quora, I think is the name of the platform. And that was a good list. I thought it was something that I had to really address specifically, so I thought it'd be good to make a video on. So the first one is setting boundaries. I mean, obviously, definitely, lesson learned. Going forward, it's important to make sure that you know what's important to you enough to set boundaries. And as far as like red flags, to really observe how your just say your new partner, how your new partner reacts when you start setting boundaries. I know with me, with my, my narcissist ex-girlfriend, that I would, set very, reasonable, logical, safe boundaries. And she did not react well at all. I mean, she really tried to make it an issue about her and just going on about rules and how she doesn't even know if she can do anything anymore because she doesn't want to be breaking, she might be breaking a rule. Just really blew things out of proportion. And then also, once I had set that boundary, crossed it a couple of times to see if I would enforce it. And then when she realized that I was serious, I wasn't going to let this drop, she continued, but she would do that thing where she would like go right up to the line and just kind of, poke, not go over the boundary, but go right, right as far as she could. Normal people don't do that. It's incredibly disrespectful. I mean, again, that's not how people in love act. Which kind of leads me to the next point: trust your gut. One of the things that I really didn't think clearly about when I was in my last relationship, which now that I'm out and the fog's lifted, is this idea of that, this is how people in love act. When someone is in love, this is what they do. And I know for me, that is clear as day. I mean, I know how I act and what I do when I'm in love with someone. And it's a real gut check when my partner doesn't. If they, just totally miss the mark as far as like doing those things, I let that go this past relationship and I paid the price. And so going forward, that's something where it's just like, talk is cheap. If my partner says, I love you, I love you, I love you, show me, don't tell me. Talk is cheap. If you love me, show me through your actions. And that goes back to the third point, reciprocity. Again, normal people, the concept of reciprocity is a no-brainer. I mean, it's like, it's part of being a human being. I mean, you have your relationships within your family, with your friend group, with your partner, and, with society. Reciprocity is very much a foundational aspect of that. Narcissists, to them, reciprocity is just gibberish. It's a word. It has no meaning for them. And again, that was glaring for me in my past relationship when I was not receiving any reciprocity. And when I would bring up the topic with my girlfriend at the time, her reactions were very alien to me. She would say that, she would make the argument, well, it's not, you're not really giving out of love if you're expecting anything in return. And it's like, well, no, I'm not giving with the expectation of giving something in return, but I'm also not giving to be taken advantage of. I'm not giving to be taken for granted. And to her, like, just the concept of reciprocity was just gross. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, it was almost repugnant to her. Like, it was just just the idea of the concept of reciprocity was just disgusting to her. Along this same idea of setting boundaries, setting expectations. This is new for me, believe it or not. And again, it's one of those things, you learn the hard way. Along with setting boundaries is to set expectations. So something like, okay, it's important for me to be in a relationship where we go out dancing once a week. It can be any day of the week. I don't care which club. I don't even care how long, but that's my expectation. We do this, once a week because that's really important to me. Like that is part of a relationship to me. Along the same lines, you might have, an expectation or boundary, depending on how you want to phrase it, of, okay, if we both agree to set a date to, like, say, go see a movie, my expectation is that you do not cancel an hour beforehand. My expectation is that you show up on time, ready to go, so that we're not late. And, again, it's one of those things where it's like, well, a lot of these are like, well, duh, of course. But at the same time, people, whether they're narcissists or not, people are not mind readers. And it's important to set these, not only boundaries, but also expectations so that your partner knows what's important to you and kind of like what type of relationship or things in the relationship are, of value to you. So there's, another lesson learned, at least for me. You teach people how to treat you. And in addition, that teaching never ends. And that when you're with someone, either in the workplace, your family, your friends, your partner, you're always going to have to be teaching them how to teach you, or how to treat you. And so one of the things that I didn't do was hold my partner accountable. And so when they were slip ups, say with crossing boundaries or canceling dates at the last minute and stuff like that, I kind of let it go. I was just, again, I was in the fog, but that said, it's still my responsibility. And in a relationship, whether it's with a narcissist or a normal person, you need to hold them accountable. If someone says, yes, I will be there at the theater at 8 p.m., I'm really excited to go see this movie, and they don't show up until 8:30, you can't let that go. You can't just brush it off, or try to be cool or be like, oh, no big deal. Because if you do, they will do that again, because you're teaching them, hey, this person, I can disrespect them. I can cancel dates at the last minute. I can be late, and it doesn't matter because, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to hold me accountable. And so it's important that if you want people to treat you with respect, whether they're a narcissist or not, you need to hold them accountable and say, look, I don't want to make a federal case out of this, but when I say I want you here at 8 p.m. because I don't want us to miss the beginning of the movie, you need to be here at 8 p.m. And if you can't do that, then I'm not going to see movies with you any longer. and again, just also observe how they respond to that, because normal people, they might be a little bit bristly, but in the end, they know you're right. They know they were late, and they know where you stand, and they know what's going to happen if they do it again. The narcissist is going to, one, get angry, get defensive, and blame shift. Nothing's their fault. Their clock broke. There was traffic. The cat puked all over the house. Death by 1,001 excuses. But yeah. So one that really it sounds like it's been an issue with a lot of people in their relationships with narcissists. Not so much mine, but I'll touch on it. Is finances. Every couple deals with finances differently. I'm not going to say that there's a right way or a wrong way, just as different, people have different types of relationships, and if it works, it works. But what I will say, though, is that if two people, say start a relationship and they have that discussion about how they're going to handle finances, one, watch how the other person reacts. And, that could be an indicator of, to what degree they're a narcissist, or at least with respect to finances. I know with my ex-girlfriend, for example, we went on a lot of dates initially, and I always paid for just basically the whole night. And again, with with any other woman that I've dated, they would always, by the second or third date, they'd be like, oh, no, I've got this one. You got last time. I'll get this one. And I kept waiting for my ex-girlfriend to do that. She never did. And so I finally had to just be like, hey, I've paid for like the past 8 dates. Can we, work out something so things are a little bit more fair? And she got really defensive and said it was my fault because I did not tell her to pay for any of the dates. And it's like, that is such a narcissist way to handle that situation. Is like, not only am I doubling down, but it's your fault that I did not pay for any of the dates. And so, getting back to finances, just to be aware of how they are with money, because from what I've read, that's a really big indicator. With a lot of people. Oh boy, fun one. Cheating. All narcissists cheat. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say 99% of them cheat. Maybe there's that 1% of honest narcissists with lots of loyalty. But I practically think it's part of the traits that define a narcissist is the cheating. Because again, in their mind, it's not about cheating or not cheating. It's just constant supply. And if you're not there, their need for that supply doesn't go away. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to get it from this person and this person and this person. And so it's not necessarily to their mind like they're, looking to cheat. They're just like, I can't go without supply, So of course, and I assume they feel no remorse at all. As far as like what that cheating entails, I will leave that up to you. With my, ex-wife, it was very sexual. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. That was her mode of cheating. And with my ex-girlfriend, I don't think it was sexual at all. I could be wrong, but I honestly don't think it was at all. It was emotional cheating for her. She was addicted to her phone, and having, 10 10 different guys being like, hey, how are you doing? You're so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. Like, that was her crack cocaine. I mean, that is what got her through the day, was having all these guys just perpetually messaging her all day, every day. And so, yeah, again, something to just be aware of, one is a red flag, obviously, but also just something to be aware of, like, going forward into future relationships. Communication. This is an interesting one. Normal people don't talk like narcissists. One of the things that a great phrase I came across, and I wish I'd known about this previously, over explaining. So that is something that my ex-girlfriend did all the time, where she like the example I like to give is like one time we were at the theater in the middle of a movie that she was really excited to see and she was really enjoying, and she was like cuddling me and leaning on me and stuff, and then out of nowhere, just suddenly she gets up, grabs her phone, nudges me and says, okay, I'm taking my phone just in case they ask for my ticket, because if they stop me in the hallway, I want to make sure I have my phone, because then I can show them my ticket and show them that I'm seeing this film. So that's why I'm taking my phone. I'm taking my phone to the bathroom with me in case they stop me and ask for my ticket. And then she got up and left, and I was like, what the hell was that? It's like, that is so suspicious. It's not even funny. And it's narcissists have such quirky ways of talking. And so there's the, over explaining the word salad, where, you might ask somebody like, hey, I thought you were going to be here at like, 5:30, but it's like 6, and you're just now showing up. And they're like, oh yeah, there was like a lot of traffic, and my car, like the radio, it hasn't worked in like 2 years, and I took it to that one shop in Thornton, and it was like a really bad shop, and like they asked me to leave it there for 2 weeks, and I was like, no, I've got relatives coming in. And so my aunt and uncle, they were coming in that week, and I hadn't seen them in like 4 years, since my brother graduated. And he went to school in Wisconsin, and he was graduating that year. And he lived in Wisconsin, but after he graduated, he ended up moving to North Dakota, and I think he's working in a tractor factory right now. And you're just like, okay, I'm yanking my eyeballs out. It's like, it is so telling when a person starts doing these like weird, quirky ways of talking, because normal people don't talk that way. Normal people say what they mean and mean what they say. So yeah, I mean, just another thing to kind of be on the lookout for. I think I touched on like the accountability and responsibility, with like expectations, but again, really observe their reaction. When you hold or try to hold a narcissist accountable, I mean, immediately I'm thinking, okay, that's an hour-long fight. I mean, that's an hour-long fight. And 59 minutes of that fight is going to be about something other than what you are trying to discuss regarding accountability. The blame shift, I mentioned that a little bit. Again, like, to me, in my experience, that is, again, one of the key traits of a narcissist. Every narcissist that I've known, nothing's ever their fault. Nothing. And I mean, you could literally, you could watch them take a plate, off the counter in the kitchen, throw it on the ground, and it shatters. And you could say, why'd you do that? And then you'd be like, well, do what? And I'm like, you just took that plate and threw it on the ground and it shattered. And they're like, it fell. I didn't throw it. Who throws plates? Really? What a crazy thing to say. And it's like, no, I saw you take it off the counter and throw it. And it's like, you've done bad things too. Like, I'm tired of you not folding the towels. Every time I ask you to fold the towels, you don't. You just leave them piled up. I mean, I could go on and on, but you get it. They will not take responsibility or accountability, and it is boom. Just schedule an hour for a word salad fight. And this is one that I think is interesting. And again, like I almost wonder if I could do like a whole video on it. Drama. I don't think I've really talked about this before, but narcissist, at least in my experience, they're always in the middle of drama. And it's kind of funny because at first you get the indication that they hate it, that they're like, oh, woe is me. Why does this always happen to me? And they will say that. And yet you see this over years and years and years, and you just have to stop and think, wait a minute, who the hell lives their life like this, where they're just perpetually in the middle of this like tornado of drama forever? I mean, most people would just die in that environment, and they would be like, no, I can't live like this. And they would take steps to, remove those aspects of their life that are destructive, causing chaos. And, even, for me, what works for me when things start going in that direction is I'll simplify. I will just start simplifying my life, because I'm like, look, this is too much for me to control. I need to bring things down. I'm going to simplify my life. And so I think that's how most people are, but not narcissists. And for whatever reason, I think that the covert narcissists are the worst of the worst. Because to me, I think it serves a lot of purposes for them. I mean, one, they get to play the victim, and two, it gives them something to be perpetually talking to other people about in order to elicit sympathy. And so it's like, well, wait a minute, God, that person has a lot of bad luck. And it's like, yeah, they do, don't they? It could not be the fact that they create all that bad luck with their bad choices and stuff, but yeah, it's just just the drama. Something's always going on with their crazy ex, or their evil family and their evil siblings, and all the craziness at work. And I could just go on and on. It's ridiculous. So again, like, at least for me, after going through like my experiences now, I know that if I meet a woman and we start dating, and maybe we get more serious and we're gonna start a relationship, that if I see like the constant tornado of chaos, that's a huge red flag for me. I'm just like, no, been there, done that, have the t-shirt. I can't do the drama stuff again, because again, it never seems to end. As soon as one thing gets solved, there's always like two other things there that are broken or chaotic or causing problems to take its place. So again, just in summary, just wanted to do a video on red flags to identify. And also, and those red flags based upon kind of lessons learned, as we've gone through these, relationships with a narcissist. And, if there can be any good that comes out of that, that we do learn those lessons so that we can go forth into life and into our next relationships and say, okay, I need to be treated with respect. I will not be taken for granted. I will not be taken advantage of. I will set clear boundaries. I will set clear expectations. And I will enforce those boundaries. And if it's, as I say for myself, if it's not fun and fulfilling, I'm gone. So hopefully this video's been helpful.